Hello, everybody. We are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo. This is my forever co-host, John. Today, we talk about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel to the Hunger Games, the first one, or was it trilogy? Is it the trilogy? No.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. To the trilogy, starring, of course, Jennifer Lawrence, but this time, this movie stars Tom Blythe and Rachel Zegler. Tom Blythe being, of course, young President Snow, or Cornelius Snow. That's a weird
I
way to
hate
say
that
it.
name.
Yeah.
I really hate that name. Every time I'm like Cornelius. No, Cornelius. I'm like, shut up.
Other
Yeah, I just call him like Snow. I just call him Snow.
other big names include Hunter Schafer and, of course, Peter Dinklage and Viola Davis.
I hate this.
To be honest, I think this movie has inspired me to buy myself a copy of the first Hunger Games, or buy a copy of this book.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't watch the trilogy?
I never got to finish it. I've stopped at Catching Fire.
No, yeah, yeah, I know. Same here. Like, I watched the first one and I really liked the first one. Then I watched Catch and Fire. I was like, that was okay. I never got around to watching the third one.
Yeah.
Like it was split into two parts, which I got lazy with
Yeah.
because everybody was splitting their movies into two parts.
I think I was like, you know what? I'll just watch it all in one go when they
Do
came
you
out.
guys remember that scene where? Sorry if I'm going on a tangent. Where Katniss shoots down a jet with her bow and arrow,
Yeah.
and then the jet like falls onto the church,
Yeah.
and that's where the refugee camp was. And then she goes and is like, "See what the Capitol did?" And I was like, "No, you did that. What are you talking about?"
I remember seeing a clip of that. I was like, "Is that?" I thought it was a spoof. I was like, "That can't."
No,
be.
it's not. It's a legit scene where she's like, "Look what the Capitol did," and you're like, "You're the one who shot down the plane."
Right. Anyway, I do like how they set up the world where Snow is. I do like how they make Pan Am this one great city among the shit.
Well,
the
like very
shit world.
shitty districts around it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Like Pan Am is a shining example, and you're like, huh, alright, that makes sense. Since it was set up very nicely in the previous movies. And
Yeah.
Tom Blythe as President Snow, you're like, I buy him as the guy who's gonna turn. I do like when we first meet him with his snooty classmates. They're the stereotypical like high class villains of like,
Like, ho ho ho, father told me the
Yeah.
poor ain't gonna be playing this year. And I'm like, okay. It's those kind of like rich bastards who are like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, mother told me. I was like, she's gonna be buying me a dress for prom.
Yeah.
Or, but I don't know why they're British. They're not British. But I do like the concept with President Snow. I didn't know that was the story with him where he is from a poor family. They're struggling to stay in that school.
yeah,
And you see his cousin, Tigress, like making him a dress shirt
yeah,
to make it look fancy. And like, but it does look the part. But you could tell like he is just faking it till he makes it.
yeah. And it's his big day because he thinks he's gonna get the prize where he gets a lot of money and he's on his way to becoming bigger and better things. But being Casca High Bottom is like, that's not gonna happen this year, because this year you guys are gonna host the Hunger Games, the top of the class, and whoever is the best wins the prize money and of course what you're reaching for, what you're all climbing each other over for. And now you have to do it again, just with the Hunger Games. And you're introduced to like other players, and I do like how with the Hunger Games of this movie, it feels literally like an arena, and that's the job they have to do, make these people gladiators for our age. Because whether they last 5 hours or 5 days or 5 seconds, if you can prompt them to be the shining star, you'll get the most points. And everybody's like, oh shoot, I get District 1, that's gonna be easy. While others are like, ah fuck, how the fuck do I work with that one?
Ah, shit. Yeah, like the further down you go, like once you get to like 12,
Yeah,
like 8 or 12, like that's when people are like, ah, fuck.
yeah.
They're like, shit.
Yeah,
Because the District 1's like the well-fed, somewhat well-fed, well-bred fighters.
yeah.
Um,
And then you make it all the way to
well,
District 13, and you're like, they're barely eating anything.
yeah. Is that where Katniss is from?
No, she's from 12. Isn't there?
Is-
I think there's 13 districts all in all.
yeah. Then they, if I remember correctly, like they blew up 13 to like set an example.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah. Like anyway,
But
but like in this dystopian future, yes, entertainment is through just pitting up kids against each other and seeing who wins, and I guess that's how you make money.
yeah,
And I guess that's how people get entertained back in the day. No, I'm kidding. Well, that was kind of the case with
Gladiator,
Gladiator.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
you get introduced to Dr. Gall, who's like, we need more viewers because no one's watching the Hunger Games, so it's your job to get views.
I really thought this was gonna be the first ever Hunger Games.
Me too.
So from what I'm guessing is that there was other Hunger Games, but they weren't doing so well because people kind of got tired seeing kids just chop each other's heads off.
Apparently.
So that's why they need the students like Snow to be like, hey, you guys gotta be the mentors. You gotta make them you gotta make them stand out like F1 drivers, and then they get killed on screen.
It's like, your district player is retired forever. You're like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
shame. But no,
Well, shit, that was his first race.
District 12, of course, you get introduced to Lucy Gray, who's played by Rachel Zegler, who acts and sings her heart off in this movie. You're like, God damn. If you bring this to the Snow White movie, I'm sure that's going to be the best live action Disney movie, which is not saying much. But anyway, it's one hell of an introduction where the mayor's daughter's talking shit and she's like, have a fucking snake, you bitch. And you're like, gee, alright.
Yeah. Because she gets called, she gets called for the Hunger Games, and everybody's like, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
And she was like, good luck, and she just tosses a snake down her dress. It was just so funny. And then, yeah, she sings as she got on,
Yeah.
which, not gonna lie, I kind of found weird. But I guess they're a singing
Yeah.
district.
Apparently. And then I think it was Tigris, Tigris is like, you shouldn't see them as less than, you should see them as equal and treat them as such. That's how you win your own districts over, your own apprentice, if you will, over. And like Snow tries to do that when he meets her with a flower and she's like, what's your job here aside from giving me flowers? He's like, I'm supposed to make you a star so you can survive, so you get donations. And she's like, alright. And then he goes to their vehicle, and then they're dumped into a zoo, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's kind of fucked. and then like, yeah, he gets. I guess that was a standout moment because, what's this student doing here with one of the people from the districts?
Yeah.
That's weird.
And
yeah, so like that's what caught their eye, and they kind of look like a power couple, I'm guessing.
yeah,
And people kind of like that, so they stood out.
which prompts like the other students to do so, because at first the dean is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why are you sympathizing with them? And he's like, no, this is so we can prop them up to be stars of the Hunger Games. And Viola Davis says something to like tell me what the Hunger Games are for in the first place. And he's like, oh, it's for punishment. No, it's not. And then she asks him that later on in the film, or the last moment of the film, and you're like, huh, that is the answer. Jesus, okay. But you find out that his friend Sir Janus is the most sympathetic out of all of them, because he's like, totally against these games. Like, why do we have to watch these kids slaughter each other? That's for what? A crime they didn't commit years ago? That doesn't make any sense.
And not gonna lie, on Sir Janus, like I liked him as a character at the start. As the movie went on, I just got more annoyed with him. Like, I get it that you wanna do something good, but you're doing a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
you do get more annoyed, but like at the beginning you're fine when like
Yeah, because like you agree with him, like, yeah, this is a fucked up concept. This is bad. And then even when he gets like pissed off because his player, his tribute, gets like hung up.
yeah.
Like I guess it was as a like the district making that joke, like, hey, yeah, you got no chance.
Yeah.
These are the people you love, and look what we can do. So and then he gets pissed off, and I was like, yeah. And then later on, he just does a lot of stupid shit. And
Yeah. They kill off a lot of annoying characters. Like the one girl is like fucking with her contestant in the zoo. And they're like, what did you think would happen,
and
you
then she
idiot?
gets stabbed by like a bottle.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck. Like she was like, talk. Like she's like spoken like a bear.
Yeah.
And I was like, you fucking idiot. These things were bred to like kill to survive.
Like what
Like what are you doing?
Like what do you expect would happen? Like get
Yeah.
stabbed like right in the neck? Like oh, Jesus Christ. I think that's one of the most violent deaths in the Hunger Games. Even before the game start. I can't remember them. I haven't finished them. So yeah.
Okay. Because I remember one guy being mauled by dogs. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, and I was in the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the relationship between Lucy and Snow gets stronger, and you buy their chemistry. You're like, oh, yeah, it's not bad chemistry. It's like I buy their relationship growing stronger, and like they start having feelings for each other, even though she's begging Snow, like, please help me survive this. And you see, like after the student's death, when they're all like prepping them with their hands handcuffed, the variety of contestants, like some you can question of like, yeah, they're meant to be here, like the guy with like the cap, the strong guy who keeps on like going at people. You're like, yeah, I can see you being a Hunger Games contestant. But then you see like this one contestant with Down syndrome. I was like, this is such a cruel world, man. Jesus Christ.
That was so fucked. I want to get out of the way. That was so fucked.
Her end.
This whole, like, her end was so fucked. Because there's this like the what was her name again? Viola Davis's character.
Dr. Gall.
Yeah, she has like a vat of like poisonous snakes, and they show that like the effect is like rapid. Like once it bites you, you're gone.
Yeah.
And they stuck it in the middle of the arena. He just comes out. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it was so fucked. She comes out and he's like, "Is it over yet?" And then the thing breaks and the flood of snakes engulfs her. And I was like, "Oh, poor fuck." Like you could have given her a more respectful death. I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Good on the studio though for being inclusive with casting. I was like, oh, that's good. But Jesus Christ, her end is like, why? But yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the origins of the speech with that, where Snow has to present the paper of like how to make these games more entertaining, and his classmate is like, oh, I wrote about the sponsors and the tributes and the donations, and Dr. Girl's like, really? Unfortunately, my secretary mistook it as trash and threw it within the snake pit. You have to get it. If they're used to your scent, you're fine. If you've handled their food or can smell the sweat off your palms, you'll be good. But if you're new, aka you're lying to me, you're gone. You're dead. And then she's just like, you know what? Fuck it. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. They're like, can you grab it for me so we can review the paper? And I'm like, she does. She gets bit and then she starts like laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, not gonna lie, I like Viola Davis's character here. She's great.
Doctor, I want to see my enemy see a rainbow of destruction. You're like, it's a good line. It's a good line. But it's so fucked where there's just one bite causes like instant convulsions. You're like, what the fuck is in those snakes?
Yeah. Well, like, you could see the nurse was straight up prepared because she was like, oh, there's Dr. Girl gonna make an example. Alright, preparing the anti-venom.
Yeah, and then Snow's like, is she gonna die? And Dr. Gall's like, the best thing about scientific research is that when you're the first, you get to break new ground. You're like, I don't think that was by choice, but sure. I get your point.
Right. I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, they took a liking to President Snow or post President Snow. Uh, his ideas to make the games a little bit more entertaining. What was the ideas again? What was like the sponsorship?
Sponsorships and like essentially, the PUBG of like, oh cool, I can get refreshments via drones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The drones are like absolute ass.
Yeah.
Like they would like crash into a wall. Like if you ask for, like they even give them like plastic bottled waters that could like withstand impact. No, they give them glass bottles. It's like it just shatters upon impact. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
I like this. The pacing for the first and second act surprised me because the day after the snake thing, they were like, "Oh, tomorrow's the Hunger Games." I was like, "What?
Yeah,
Wow, we were moving
like
pretty fast."
yeah, that shit was quick. Well, yeah, because there's so much more to tell after the games. Like
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel like
like,
this could have been split up into 3 parts, but or
Same
like
here.
3 episode like series. But,
Yeah. I do like the fact. No, I find it interesting that they're touring the arena, and you see how small the arena is. In your mind, you're like, of course, this is like just the 10th Hunger Games. This is not Katniss's era, where it's like this whole huge, sprawling area of like literally, you don't know where the enemy is coming from. Here, you can see them, and you're supposed to fight to the death. You literally are modern day gladiators, and there's nothing else you can do about it.
But yeah, it is much. I was actually expecting like maybe like a little bit bigger, maybe a little town. But no, it's straight up just the Colosseum itself. It's just the gulag from Modern Warfare. Uh, and so all they had, which was a very refreshing, like we had the big open field, we had the tropical island from the second one, and from what I heard, there was the desert and some snow areas from the past few games.
Yeah.
But here, it's just this one facility, and then you're just stuck there, and then you're like hiding in vents, going through corridors, going through underground tunnels.
Yeah.
Very short lived, which was, I guess, that was the theme of like the Hunger Games. It was supposed to only last a day.
Yeah.
Like these people were only supposed to kill each other for a day. They weren't supposed to like keep going, and they didn't have that whole map thing shrinking
Yeah. Also,
for
like,
them to get closer and closer to each other. Yeah.
there's a terrorist attack, and that creates more problems. Where we're like, oh, I thought it was gonna be a clean arena, and then Snow surveys the land, and he's like, all right. He tells Lucy of like, there's a hole on the ground, you can hide there. Also gives her like rat poison. And the thing before that Dean said is that if you cheat, you'll receive maximum punishment for giving your contestants unfair advantage. And you're like, I hope they don't find the rat poison with Lucy, and the game starts, and you're like, Lucy's never shown like combat ability. What the fuck is she supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, and like you see the beginning of the games, it's pretty intense. You see people just like fly towards each other with like, I'm gonna kill you so that I can survive and get the fuck out of here because I don't want to be here for much longer.
Yeah. But we also have like like I don't know what district he's from. But there's this like very athletic guy who did like Threaten Snow earlier on in the movie.
Yeah.
And he's probably the most likely to survive
Yeah.
with how good he is with combat. Pretty much kill everybody.
Yeah.
His partner from district whatever he's from.
It's already dying.
Like on TV. I was like, that is sad.
Yeah.
That is not good. But it's a movie. It's fun.
Like they just drag her body to her mark, and you're like, I don't think she's gonna last a second. Oh, that's just cruel,
I'm surprised that she lasted so long.
right? But yeah, like everything's fucked, and Lucy gets her partner and goes peace, while other people form a pack, and like the
Yeah.
guy Serjanus has a meltdown of like, you guys are monsters, while they're watching on
Yeah.
this like fucking Fallout setup
I love that,
Yeah,
man. I love that. It's very Bioshock Fallout setup. I was like, oh,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Also
cool.
love the junior Stanley Tucci, Jason Schwartzman, being
Mm.
Lucky Flickerman before. I forgot Stanley Tucci's character's name, but like he's the precursor to that guy. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and like you can really feel like Jason Schwartzman did his assignment well because he does feel like I don't know if he's the younger version of Stanley Tucci. I can't say for
I
sure.
don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. Correct us if we're wrong with fans of Hunger Games, but
Yeah,
because President Snow's really old.
that is true.
The announcer here, he's I think older than President Snow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just
So I don't think that's it. So
yeah, I felt bad for Lucy's partner because he gets rabies because he was betting on the train somewhere in the trip, and now he's just like foaming at the mouth. Like,
yeah, I could have sworn rabies doesn't act that quick, but okay. But yeah, I was like he was just having rabies, and I
yeah,
was like, oh, so that's what's wrong. I thought he was just weird. I thought he was just like I'm just
yeah. Also, Sir Janus tries to revive his fallen contestant. He goes in the
like
arena.
giving him like breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
like,
what the fuck are you doing?
like what the fuck is that supposed to do, sir? And Snow has to kill someone, and he's like, "Well, that's a first. Hopefully, the last." No,
Yeah,
it's not.
that shit was so stupid. Like
Yeah,
Sir Janus just going into the arena and just like, oh, I gotta do something. And then what?
yeah,
You're gonna get killed here. And he's like, I have to like stay. I was like, no, it's pretty much like like idiotic decisions that this guy thinks that is the right thing to do.
yeah,
It's just like, dude, just wait it out. You have money, you have power. You can do something right within the future. You just have to play the long game. But no, he likes to act on his emotions and just like go crazy.
yeah.
And then like yeah, like Snow has to like come in save his ass. This motherfucker trips and like busts his knee. I was like, you are useless. Like he meets up with his mom and his dad. He's like, I had to do something. I was like, shut the hell.
I do like when Lucy was surrounded, and that's why I questioned, like, did she never showed any combat abilities? What's she doing here? Because she's
Yeah,
surrounded, and they like go for the legs first. You're like, I hope she survives because I don't want to see this character die. Do a dash. And, like Snow has to send in the drones, and they like crash into the other contestants. You're like, one, I do hope you fix that system, which they do eventually. But two,
yeah,
that's a pretty sick way to dispatch someone if ever. Uh,
yeah. Shit was so funny too, because like, and some person's like, hey, that's cheating. I was like, oh, I'm just sending them water.
yeah, I felt bad for the one girl who got surrounded by some girl with a pitchfork and another girl with like a hatchet on top of like where she caught the guy free.
Yeah, where she mercy killed like the first contestant.
Yeah, that's a gnarly kill though. Like Jesus Christ, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
Yeah,
And like you see them like turning on each other as well. They're like, do you deserve that water? And,
yeah.
no.
It's like
But
bitch.
it was a poisoned water too.
Yeah, and the girl with tuberculosis has to sip. Like, ah, that's horrible.
Not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna make it a little bit more gruesome of how she died. Like she drinks it, she walks off and just collapses. No, she just like sip, and then she just like falls asleep.
Yeah,
And I
she's
was like,
like, she's like, ah, I'm extra tired. TV's already taken toll. I'm extra. Like, oh,
not gonna lie, not gonna lie. If I was like, if I was her partner, like, hey, you okay? Oh, well, TV set in there. I guess that was it.
yeah.
Like, I would have not been the wiser. I would have not think like, oh, she got poisoned. Like, no, just like,
It's like, ah, you got mercy killed by your own disease. That makes sense.
all right.
And the guy
But that wasn't the case.
drapes the dead's bodies with a flag, and he's like, "Are you entertained now, fuckers?" They're like, "Oh fuck, all right."
Yeah.
And then you hear on like the TV, Dr. Gall's like, "Hey, guess what? In the bombing earlier, President's son was killed. Can't have that. Can't have a victory for the rebels. So I'm gonna end this game. Doesn't matter if no one wins." And she sends in the snakes. That's when Snow's like, "I can't have that," and just inserts a handkerchief with his scent so the snakes don't attack them. That's where we get.
I know with her scent, like she had like he wiped her tears.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's where
Yeah.
we get all the fuck deaths. Starting with Wowie, where she's like, "Can I go home? Is it the end?" God damn, what? Why? To be fair, since we know that the venom is like instant lethal, I think that's the quickest death.
I guess so. Yeah, that's probably like it was. It was just like, hey, just take out that area.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone to win.
The one guy
And
with the flag, he's just like, "It is what it is."
yeah, like this is like a better fate than going through the shit that they've been through.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he got a little bit suspicious because once the snakes got to Lucy,
Yeah.
he wasn't getting bit, and they're like, "Oh, what's wrong? Why is it?" It's like, "Oh, it's the singing."
Yeah, but you don't know that because you're like, is it gonna really work? Because I'm just waiting her to just go limp after one bite. Because she started singing, I was like, they're gonna bite, and she's gonna die. She's gonna die right now, and she continues singing, and you're like, one, Rachel Zegler's voice is like a killer. Two,
Yeah.
when is the end coming? And you're just like gripping your seat up like, God,
And
why?
And then everybody's like, "Yo, she's the winner." Like, let her go.
Yeah.
Like, even though we announced that there's no winner, like, she kind of earned it at this point.
Yeah.
And she's like a fan favorite too, so that was a big plus.
Yeah. Dr. Girl's like, alright, we'll end this. And then later on, Snow is brought to this empty room where you're like, I don't like this. It's supposed to be his origin story. What's happening? Then Peter Dinklage is like, you're cheating. You cheated. Told you what the price is. Your family's never going to see that money, and I'm going to send you to the districts as a nameless grunt. And I do love the line of like, you hear that, boy? That's the sound of snow falling. You're like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. When his entire catchphrase is "Snow lands on top," and I was like, "Oh," and now it's that, and I love it. And yeah, we get a whole third arc.
Yeah, which is weird because of like when Lucy stopped singing, I was like, we have an hour left. What the fuck is going to happen?
Right? Same here. That's why the movie was like 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he gets sent to one of the districts, but he bribed his way to get to District 12. And Sir Jadis kind of follows suit. He was like, "Hey, well, you told me to do something, and like here I am."
Yeah.
I was like,
To be
"Better
fair,
not do something stupid."
exactly. To be fair, this is the weakest act for me, because it's divided into chapters of like Snow's chapter, the games chapter, and then this chapter, and then this is like the weakest because it feels. I think Jeremy John said it best, where it feels so slow, but it feels like they're rushing to the end. It kind of feels like the creative team was like, "Fuck, Snow's supposed to be a bad guy. What the fuck do we do?" Shit.
Yeah.
Tag another hour on. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Because it feels so different.
Yeah,
You're like, what movie am I watching now?
It does. It does feel very different. Like, I do like seeing that how he climbed the ranks, but he was just so quick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was dragged on because they wanted to flourish this romance between him and Lucy. But at the same time, they were kind of rushing it, and I couldn't really buy him earning his way up to the top.
As Snow, as the villain.
Yeah, because they were like, "Oh, you're like employee of the month for a couple of months. You got the moxie to get yourself to District 2, and then from there you could go up."
Yeah, it literally feels like another movie that they're just like, let's just add one more hour. You're like, why? That ending where Lucy's singing and Snow's fate becoming like for another movie, you're like, that's a perfect ending. If it ended right there, this movie would be like a 10 out of 10 for me, or like close to that. But no.
Yeah.
Then like, I do like seeing the guy from what's the movie, Pacific Rim, being like this.
Pacific Rim?
Fast.
This is so weird because like you always see him or hear him be the smart sciencey guy.
Yeah.
Now he's a general or like this captain. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Dude.
Like this is a different role. Holy shit, he did a great job.
Yeah. Such an intimidating voice too. You're like, I didn't know he had it in you to do that. Fuck.
Same here. Because again, I got too used to him being the guy from The Dark Knight Rises, who's like, "Do you feel a charge?" You know.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh wait, no, that's not him. That's not him.
No, he's the.
He was the guy who falls into the ice.
Yeah. He's the guy who hears Ben Mendelsohn's neck like from Bane.
Right. Like,
yeah. But yeah, but you still buy the romance between Lucy and Snow. It's just that how he climbs his way to the top of like, it literally feels like someone pressed forward and you're like, oh, he's, because it's so jarring when he tells Sir Janus like, you're part of the rebellion, stop that, and then he goes forward again where it's like, you know what, maybe to climb the ranks, I shall snitch on my friend, and you're like, that's fast.
Yeah.
Feels like an hour.
Like he puts a recording into on a train. It like goes off into the capital.
Yeah.
I was like, what are the odds of somebody finding that?
Yeah. It's like, let me test this bird out. Oh fuck. Sir Jane's in trouble.
Yeah. And then Sir Jane is like talking to rebels and like the rebellion people. I was like,
openly in front of Snow, like where other peacekeepers could find him. Like, how fucking stupid are you, man?
Great. Like, again, you have the money. Climb the ranks. Once you get enough power, that's when you can do something. Not start from the bottom and just work with the bottom. I'm like, you fucking...
I felt
Jesus.
so bad for the mayor's daughter because she's got the worst end of the snake. First the snake gets into her and then she's shot by Snow. It's not even a quick death too, like, oh Jesus, I'm sorry.
That shit was so fucking funny. Cause she was like...
To be fair, she's a dumbass too, of like, oh, you have weapons. It's the Michael Myers thing of like, oh, you have weapons on me? No, the Jurassic World thing of like, oh, you have weapons on me? You have automatic machine guns? You know what I'm gonna do? Call the police. Bye.
That's it. Also, idiotic part on like the boyfriend who was the ex-boyfriend of Lucy.
Yeah.
And who he clearly still has feelings for Lucy. He invites the mayor's daughter into like the rebel camp.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then like she was like, I'm gonna tell the police, and she runs off. He's like, what are you gonna do about it? And then like the most reasonable thing that everybody was thinking of, even in the theater, was grab a gun and shoot the bitch.
And like Lucy's ex-boyfriend got blasted too, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I didn't like him anyway." You're like, "What?"
Right? Shit was so rough. Like Lucy was just like, "What is going on?"
It's like I just want to, I just want to vibe and chill and play music. Why is this happening?
Yeah. So like they had this whole because like President Snow shot a couple of people. They have this whole investigation. Like if they find the gun, Snow's gone.
Yeah.
I guess they already had that enough technology to be like, oh, we could find the prince and the DNA. But straight to the killer.
It's always like, are you sure you found the prince? Because the first hanging, they're like, we found the prince, and everybody's like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
that show was really creepy though. Like they had the Mockingjays, the experimental Mockingjays.
Yeah.
To like when somebody gets killed and they had like a one last word that they have to say, the birds kind of repeat it, and it's like
that's why
eerie.
Sir Janus is that really sticks in my mind because he doesn't go out like a typical movie. Like the rebel leader would be like, "I'm glad I died for this cause. You're all gonna rot in hell." But Sir Janus is like crying out for his mom. You're like, man, that's uneasy. Fuck, stop it.
Yeah.
Or you don't like this character.
Like, saying, like they all start screaming like "Ma." Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's fucked. But that was the thing. Why I don't like Sir Janus.
Yeah.
Like the dude acts like, oh, I could do something about it. But when shit starts to happen, man breaks down. It's the most human thing, but it doesn't excuse that he's kind of annoying.
Yeah. I do love Tom Blythe's acting on the aftermath. He's just like, fuck. Like, again, a very human response of like, I like this guy. I hope Tom Blythe's in more things after this, to be honest. Because he really...
Yeah, I agree.
He really sells his role as President Snow, or future President Snow. And then he and
Or
Lucy go.
past presidents.
Yes. But yeah, he and Lucy go off to, I guess, join the rebels. And Lucy says something. I'm like, I can't wait to go to a place where we don't have to do killing no more. And then Snow goes like, yeah, three's enough. She's like, who's the third one?
What do you mean? And he just goes like,
Myself.
I had to kill myself. It's like, sure, buddy.
Sure. Sure.
You slipped, you fuck.
That's the one time I was like, Snow, you're a fucking idiot. Jesus Christ.
And then, yeah.
And then like Lucy's like, oh, I'm gonna get more. I like the reference of like the plants. They're like, oh, it's called sweet potato, but here we call it Katniss. I was like, can you say that again, please? Huh.
Yeah.
That's why.
Which,
This is why I like this prequels, because there's no cheap like, I am Katniss's great grandfather. Here's a cheap Easter egg of like what's to come.
right. It's just clues. It's just clues that it's left to interpretation. Lucy might be either a descendant or like a grandmother
Yeah.
to Katniss, or there's a connection to her and Katniss,
Yeah.
which kind of makes the rivalry between Katniss and President Snow a little bit more personal,
Yeah.
which I would like to like find out. But if it's left to interpretation, that's also okay with me.
Yeah. She goes off and he tries to find her. He finds the thing he gave from his mom and he lifts it up and he gets bitten by a snake. Has a breakdown. Like, are you trying to kill
and it's
me?
like, is this poisonous?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing was, for sure people would hate me for this, but he was like, is this poisonous? I was like, venomous. Like, I had to correct him. I was like, venomous.
Actually.
Poison you gotta drink.
Yeah.
I'm actually a Reddit user.
It's like, after everything I've done for you. And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna kill you anyway. You think he hits her with a automatic machine gun? You're like, again, you're like, I hope this isn't how Lucy ends. Dear God, why? Such a cruel world.
Yeah.
But no, she escapes and mocks him by saying, and he has another meltdown of like just shooting everywhere. He's like, fine, if you want me to be the villain, then I'll be the villain. Just walks off and he meets, forgot the character's name, but meets Pacific Rim, the officer. He's like, oh, there's been a change of plan. You're not going to District 1 anymore because Dr. Gall wants to put you under her wing. And that's exactly what she tells him. She's like, before we proceed with your training, because you get a full ride to this university because of Sir Janus's dad, let me ask you again, what are the Hunger Games for? And his answer is pretty perfect. He just sums it up of like, oh, the entire world is the Hunger Games. And the games are to remind us of what we are, of what humans are. And you're like, huh.
And she's like, welcome back. Yeah, and then I love this scene with Peter Dinklage, where he has this one-on-one. You could clearly see that they both don't like each other. They don't like where this is going. And we find out that Peter Dinklage, the creator of the Hunger Games, wrote the entire idea as a joke. The entire fucking plot of Hunger Games was just supposed to be a drunk idea, and it's just a joke. And President Snow, or Cornelius Snow's father, took the idea and sent it to the government. It was like, hey, I have an idea. Let's pit some kids up against each other and let them kill each other. And like you could see, like Peter Dinklage guys like, fuck me, like like this horrible idea and went down a very dystopian path.
Yeah.
Even though like it was already in that kind of setting,
it just made it worse.
He just had so much resentment. Like we didn't need to punish them like this.
Yeah.
And he like drinks the morphine that was there, but he didn't know it was poison, and he just dies on the spot.
Yeah, I do love how Snow by the end he does complete the look. You're like, yeah, you fit in this robes pretty well. Fuck.
Yeah.
It just has one more there at the statue, and that's where the movie ends, and you're like, you know what? Fitting prequel, I would say.
No, it's not bad. I kind of like it. Even though we did have a slow part with the third act, it's not bad.
Yeah, I've heard people say it's. I've heard people say it's bad, but like when I saw it, I was like, I'm fairly entertained, even by the third act.
I got invested.
Yeah, I will, but well, kind of giving it away, but I will give dock points for the last act. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie. And,
Yeah.
in terms of prequels, this is one of the best in my opinion. That's why now I'm like, I kind of want to read the books now, or at least complete the movies, or do both.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add on before we end this?
No, it's really good.
But yeah, what would you rate? What do you call this complete title? The Ballad of Songbirds.
Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I would give this one a solid. A solid 7. Like, yeah, the last act does kill it for me. It does drag on, and I'm very surprised on how it dragged on yet felt very rushed.
Yeah.
But I loved everything prior to that. Like, I love how the Hunger Games first looked like, where it's just an arena. I love the story with Lucy and President Snow, and again, as you said, I love it that they just threw out clues. They didn't really give you like, this is Katniss's you know what, or like this is Katniss's or Peeta's like grandfather or some shit like that. No,
Yeah.
they didn't do that. They just threw out clues, left it to interpretation, and then yeah. And I would say, even though the last part did drag out, I did kind of buy him going insane.
Yeah.
Like he turned on his friend. Everything he did for this girl, kind of went to nothing. Thus, make him like, is there worth? Like, I hate this place now. I hate everything about it. When he clearly was loving it at the start. Where,
Yeah.
like, it kind of looked like good life, yet he still had that piece of him that was in the capital.
Yeah.
I like it. I really do.
Yeah.
Killed a couple of people, but yeah. Yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's an above average movie, and I suggest people to watch it if you like the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah.
Or the books.
Yeah, again, despite the rush state of the last act, I would give this. What? I'm feeling it. I'll give this an 8. I really did like this movie. I like the strong performances of Tom Blythe, Rachel Zegler, Viola Davis, and Peter Dinklage. I think those four are the standouts in my opinion of this movie. And like as far as villains go, Viola Davis proves that once again she can play a great villain. She has Amanda Waller. She has Kung Fu Panda 4 coming up. So I'm like,
Okay.
whatever she's in, I'm always excited to see her in. And it just sets up the world of the Hunger Games pretty nicely. I also do like the last tag of just hearing older Snow being like, it's the things we love the most that destroy us. Just ending this movie perfectly. And you're like, yeah, that's a good way to end this movie because that's exactly what happens to Snow. That love and insanity drove him to become the tyrant that he is, that we know in the next movies. And yeah. Again, this has moved me to like do more research on this world because it is a fascinating world. Not sure how it ends because I haven't seen the last two. I'll probably watch it over the break since we are still filming this during Christmas time. So yeah. Anything else you want to add besides our ratings or hopes and dreams? But yeah. Once again, I'll ask the audience watching, what's your favorite entry to this franchise? Is it this one? Is it the first one, Catching Fire, or the last two movies that neither of us have seen? But yeah, you can find us on Spotify and TikTok. Spotify to hear us on the go, TikTok to see our best and funniest moments and our reaction to trailers. And individually, I am Zoda's Voices. So if you want me to put on a white beard and be Donald Sutherland for a day, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Where can they find you?
You can find me at JohnGOM_ on Instagram and this matter account.
And until the next video we'll see you on the next one. Bye everybody.
Ciao.